Writing skills. When we are teaching our students to write, we need to develop an understanding amongst our students that the creative skills in them would be encouraged. Children coming from all walks of life, having different cultural, religious, economic, or any other background, would have the skill of creating. Children and young learners, they have a lot of imagination and creation. They can create worlds, but the difference is that some would be able to use the words grammatically correct, or some might not use them in a correct manner, and they also can make mistakes in the spelling. So basically, when I talk about the creative skills, that means the creative skills are there. The only thing we need to do as teachers is to develop a skill amongst our students to use those creative skills in a creative manner. The imagination that they have coming from whichever background, if they're coming from an affluent family with privileges, they would be talking about things which are in control of their family background. Similarly, if they're coming from a poor background, then they would be thinking about things which are limited and which are just centered around their world, what they can achieve. And sometimes the imaginations are also beyond what is existing, like we look at the stories of people who created scientific inventions, were not in a position to do that, but because of their imagination, they could achieve those things and get their dreams true. So creating creative skills in the students, we need to look at certain features of the writing, and we need to also develop a skill amongst our students to note down the creative thinking they get at one moment. Because maybe sometime they will get some creative ideas which they might not register and then forget later on. So it is a good exercise not only for children, also for adults and mature people and young people to note down any creativity that comes their way. Maybe they are on a road looking at the trees and something comes to their mind. So it is a good habit to have a notebook as a student and write down that particular idea that comes to their mind. And later on, when they have to develop a creative style of writing, they can add that idea to that. This habit can be developed by the teachers, encouraging the students to have a notepad with them or probably a small diary with them in order to register all the things that come to their mind. And they are creative, not coming from the books, rather coming from their imagination, which actually adds a lot to creativity. And the more creative a student is, the more he practices it, then it keeps on adding, it keeps on generating. It is like a plant. It is developing in the mind of the student. And as he is using those creative skills, the more he is growing them in his mind. And he also learns a skill to be creative. He learns how to use those things which he is having in his mind, or he is having the imaginations of those things, how he can really use them in an essay form or probably in any other type of writing. So the writing skills, as I said, coming from the reading skills, also generate ideas in the minds of the students. Perhaps they read something and then they just think about something opposite to what they have read, because they can think of the possibility and the probability of some happening which was a result of what they read. They could just think of an earthquake happening, but in a very different manner, resulting to the consequences of the earthquake. Maybe they read something about an earthquake in the Asian world, which they can transform to the earthquake in the Western world. And so they can just imagine that there would be different things happening in Asia when there is an earthquake, and there would be totally different things happening in America when there is an earthquake. So that would lead them to creative writing skills.